They did a letter of support. Start with the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Meeting's called to order, pledge of allegiance. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I would make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Does anyone have any questions? The regular minute meetings from May 13th. Accounts payable and the treasurer's report.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Amber, there's your accounts payable. There's no liquor licenses, Amber, none this week. Okay, any public comment? You guys have anything to say ahead of time or?
Well, I'd just
Go ahead.
like to, I guess,
What's
ask,
your name, please?
my name is Lucy Wilson,
Okay.
and I'm a resident here in Glenwood.
Sure.
I just would like to understand why the meetings at 6 o'clock maybe have been deferred. You know, I thought the supervisors had made a commitment to meet, one Tuesday a
Yep,
month
yep,
at
yep.
6 p.m.
Scheduling conflicts.
And-
When we can't get a quorum there, then we've had it in the, that's it. We wouldn't have been able to have them that, the scheduled time, so we had them in the morning. So next week's, I would assume, would be in the evening.
And just for clarity to understand, so those conflicts are a result of responsibilities
yes.
of the Board of Supervisors
Yes,
to other
yep.
county responsibilities.
Yes.
So you
yes.
can't be in
Well,
places
or
at once.
vacations. I can't tell you exactly what they
Okay.
are, but yes, it's other conflicts.
Okay, but the board's committed to do that for our community as
We did
long
for
as
6
other-
months. Yeah, we're gonna discuss that again, so.
Okay, so at the end, so in July, it'll come up as a discussion item in the July agenda?
I would say before then.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Supervisor updates. I had nothing last week.
I didn't have anything either.
Yeah, we had a very good breakfast with the sheriff and the department heads and things that showed up, last Friday morning. I sat in on the tabletop and, let me tell you folks, you can feel at ease with the amount of people that we have that, look out for our safety, fire departments, rescue unit, sheriff's department, the EOC, the EMA, the dispatchers were even there, and they had scenarios thrown at them about an anhydrous leak in Malvern, Iowa, with a 35-mile-an-hour wind behind it. And it just kept growing and growing. They kept bringing in more things that was occurring, and they were able to handle all this. So that's probably one of the most dangerous things we have. That was good. And then also set in on an opioid meeting. Things are moving along. We're getting gloves and things paid for and other things. Sheriff's app is being taken care of. Our biggest problem is getting into the classrooms in the Glenwood Community School. If, I said I would talk to some of the school board members and see what the reason is why we can't get in, but anyway, that's it. Also set in on an economic development meeting. They voted to have a letter of support for the Mid-America solar farm out here. It was also brought to my attention that, I guess we could put it this way, we have a supervisor that said we would not be in support of anything like that, and also would not support them in funding.
They
That's
did
all I have.
they did a letter of support for a solar farm.
You did.
I said, to clarify, I said that, in my opinion, I don't think an agency that receives tax dollars should do something that's controversial to the public. So that's what I told them. I have that email for the record.
Okay. So I have,
Okay, Mr. Farrow, consideration formal action, assign 2025 annual seal coat project estimate.
So what we'd like to, the roads we'd like to do this year is, 225th Street. Here by Glenwood, that's about a mile, and that would be total reclamation, so grind it up. And then over seal it twice, so double seal, so completely redoing that road. We're getting in there now and doing the ditching on it, so that'll be brand new. And then we wanna do the edge repair on 250th Street from Gaston north to Barris Road. But that's about 4 miles. That's where we're gonna take 4 feet on each edge, grind it up, seal just that 4 feet, and then over seal the entire width of the roadway. We're gonna do that same process on 315th Street from Highway 34 north to Gaston. And then we also are going to grind up H12. It would be 370th Street, I believe, off Stonebreaker corner, M16. And we would go west. We will try and make it all the way to the most recent construction, which would be 320th Street. Let's sort of carry out. So that there is about 5 miles. We'll grind up that section and then we will leave that section as gravel for a year. Come back next year and reseal it. That's the process. It's been, I don't know how long, all in the past. We always let them sit through a freeze-thaw cycle. We've kind of gotten away with that since I've got here, just because I know the public, they're used to hard surface, and then when you get back to that. But I think in this sense, this case, it makes sense to leave it, for budget reasons. We don't have enough money in our current budget to, and the proposed budget to overseal it twice, so we'll come back next year and do that. But we'll still be able to let it sit, and I think the foreman have said overall, they think the quality is a little bit better when they can have time to work it and let it sit. So it's a give and take, a little bit of inconvenience, but overall a good product. I still take the route of, like on these other ones, if we have the budget in there, to go ahead and overseal them right away, just meeting expectations of the public, so.
we did that with, I think the one that goes east out of Malvern, south to the county line. We left it late for a year, you know,
That was the typical practice for.
but that also made a road out of it. We got rid of a lot of the soft spots. You know, they haven't showed up for
Yeah.
a couple, 3 years, so, this process does work.
Yeah.
Good.
The total bid for that is for Stephen.
I can sit up there, you know, it's a.
$955.
If you wanna sit up front and then I'll, set the camera.
Sure. There you go.
Yep, 482, 955.
Tim, that's true.
Sure.
Hey, gentlemen,
Make a motion to approve the said projects for overlaying things, regrinding, for stable construction for $482,955.21.
we've got a motion and a second to approve the 2025 annual seal coat project estimate with Stay-Belt Construction for 482,955.21. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The bids are split from London and. Okay, quite a few general discussion items, we're at
Get 5 minutes.
a pre-deck pour meeting today on site for Conard Street. We're planning to pour the deck on Friday
Good.
at 7 AM, weather dependent. So that's always the big one up a bridge. Once you get that done, it's not much time before it's fully completed and open. So looking forward to that. Good news, we have interviewed and I think we got some good applicants for the mechanic and open grader position. So kind of, running them through background check and doing some of our pre-screening stuff. And before we officially bring it to the board to offer them the position, but, so far we have completed interviews and we're impressed and think they're gonna be a good fit for our team. So those positions have been open since February, so it'll be good to fill those. Title VI, as you guys know, I'm the Title VI coordinator, so that's what I was talking with Patrick, getting that, kind of rolling again, going back through and just making sure we got our ducks in a row. Some of the things that they want to see public is our complaint form and complaint process. So I drafted a form. And then also the things we've signed, like our plan, insurance, and policy statements. I'm gonna have Patrick put that on the website. So then once we do that, I'll probably also print out some copies, for the courthouse, so they're available, and then email them to department heads if they want to post them in their office, so the public can see them. 360th Street box folder, I think Kevin probably updated you on that. We're waiting for, American Energy to move some poles. We're hoping they said June, we're hoping it's sooner than that. But once they're completed, then the contract is probably. Final thing is getting ready for, summer here up in, coming in July is typically last year when we got our, seasonal mower hired, so just wanted to kind of throw that out there, see if we're, wanted to consider that again this year. We talked with, Mike Galloway, and he said that we could probably definitely run it with a seasonal or a temporary help rather than just a seasonal mower, and then that way we can use the same person if we need a backup in the winter operations. Wow, someone we have on staff, on call, basically.
Good.
So something that we might want to explore here in the coming weeks of getting that posted.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's pretty much a wrap to what I have for general discussion. Any questions or comments for me?
I think it's 312th Street, south of Malvern. The biggest problem is there's some trees that need to be, he said it was at a stop sign. I haven't had time to go check it out.
Okay.
And then there's a blind driveway, he says, but I says, I don't know whether we handle clearing the brush on driveways or not.
If it's in the right way.
Part of it is, says.
And a blind driveway?
Well, as he says, it's been fortunate no one has been hurt or crashed into because it's where they haul all the dirt that went to the site of new housing development.
I feel like we got a call on this and it's already in our work order system, but I'll check in on it.
Okay.
Good. Anything else for Mr. Jacob?
Thank you, pretty Jake.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
We've got our public hearing at 8:30, so we'll hang tight for a minute or so and get that fired up. Thank you, Jake.
Arm wrestle, come on. arm wrestle.
No, this. No, it's gonna stay there. Oh, true, I think the big brothers, you should be brave.
All right, I've got 8:30 here. We will open the public hearing This is for the emergency medical services in Mills County to be declared an essential service. Resolution 2515. Does someone want to make a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing at 8:30.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing for resolution 2515 at 8:30. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any comments from the public? Matt, go ahead.
On number 2 on the back page, that probably should be changed to Mills County. Says shall be.
Catch, Matt, thank you.
Shall be.
Go ahead.
I have a question regarding the emergency advisory council. Could you give any context as to the qualifications that the board will be looking for in establishing that council? Will that be something that's published to the public so that they understand?
It will be if we decide to move forward with it. Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, we're not just gonna pick people off the street. We'll do some homework on it. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Hey, I'd like to speak on, it's a tax issue, so not about service providers.
State your name again, please.
Sorry, Sarah Curry.
Okay.
I'm a resident of Rouse Township, so I'm in the southern part of the county, down here. I live rural, down by Carroll Vinton, actually. So Rouse Township receives all their services from Tabor, EMS and fire. And so a countywide tax under Chapter 42D, it would cause my tax dollars to go to other service providers in Mills County where I'm not going to get the primary amount of my service. However, if you decide to fund EMS through Chapter 357F, you can create district methods. So for rural places in Mills County like mine, it works better. So that way the tax would be focused on the EMS district versus countywide. An example for that would be if the Malvern EMS district, so out here, they could just become their own taxing entity and they could support Malvern EMS. And then Glenwood and well, PJ, because they're not on here, but like they could become their own taxing entity and provide the services for that area. And so that way rural people's money would be going to the service providers where they would be receiving the majority of their services. That tax is structured a little bit differently. It can go up to $1 per 1,000 versus the countywide method is 75 cents per $1. The other thing is that under 422D, the county deems it to be an essential service, which means now, as an essential service, county supervisors, you're allowed to bond for those services without voter approval, which I totally understand. Under 357F, using the district method, bonding is still allowed, but those bonds would be supported by the members within that taxing district, and then voters would also get to vote on that. So if Glenwood wanted to build a new an EMS station, then the people within that district would pay the bond, they would pay the tax, and they would get to vote on it. And people like me down in Rouse Township wouldn't have to pay for something that I'm not going to receive. On the flip side, I've spoken with Tabor City, Tabor EMS, and all of them. If they decide to do something, they would do the district method because of Rouse Township. They also don't feel it's fair to do like a Fremont County tax, and then they have Sydney and Hamburg, and then Tabor's left out, and then they're servicing part of Mills County. So I do feel like in the future, I'll be included in the Tabor district tax. And so anyway, it's just something to think about. There's another statute that allows you to fund EMS, and I feel like from a taxpayer's perspective, it might be more fair and more equitable. And I didn't know if you were aware of that other tax.
I am not, but I will definitely look into it as the whole board will. I think our goal is to provide it to everybody though. So our 28Es would still be in place, but we would provide services to everyone and have better coverage for everyone countywide.
Right. I'm saying the people in Rouse Township, we would pay so our township taxes already go to Fremont, already
Right
go
now.
to Tabor. Right now,
Right.
my township taxes
In
go
the
to,
future, I think our goal is to include everybody and provide some better services to everyone in the county. So we wouldn't have to rely on Montgomery County and Tabor as much.
but here's my point. You've got people that live in Mills County that can see Tabor Rescue.
Absolutely.
Why is someone from Malvern or Glenwood gonna drive into Tabor city limits to service somebody? They're gonna get services from Tabor. I live 4 miles from Tabor. It doesn't make sense. And when I called the ambulance for my husband last year, they sent it to Glenwood and Malvern, and then when they sent it to Tabor, somebody came right away. So it's just, I think it's because of that location. We're so far south. I totally understand the rest of the county. I definitely think it's a need and it needs to be addressed. But just Rouse Township in particular, I think we're in a unique situation. And in other counties that I've talked to that have done this, the EMS tax, right now townships do provide money to EMS. The townships no longer provide that money to the EMS stations because you have the countywide tax. And so our township does provide a significant amount of money to Tabor, and I want to keep doing that. So.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Go ahead, John.
John, please.
I'm very familiar with what you got going here, and I appreciate what she says, because this question has come up. The people with boots on the ground hear this stuff every day. So my suggestion to the board, when you're selecting a committee that's going to, if you take this forward, do not forget these people in the room. We have to have a cohesive group going forward. And these are the people that have been here for 25, 30 years. They know the ins and outs. They know the potholes. And they're better to guide this thing forward. We've got to keep these people connected to this group. If we isolate these guys, it's done. So, like I said, my concern is with the people on the ground that's going to provide this service. And whatever we can do to keep that going, I appreciate it. And we have talked about situations just like the lady said there. And there are solutions to that.
Good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Gentlemen, do you guys have anything to add?
You did not receive any oral or written comments prior to the meeting.
Okay, someone want to make a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 8:38.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing at 8:38. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is consideration formal action regarding the first reading of resolution 2515, declaring EMS as an essential service in Mills County, Iowa, and setting forth a funding mechanism for such services.
Is anyone here does not have a copy of the resolution? Or would you prefer it being read?
We will have this posted on our website, through our social media, everything, so it will be out.
Okay. I will make a motion that the Mills County Board of Supervisors declare this resolution 2515 EMS as an essential service in Mills County, Iowa, setting forth a funding mechanism for this such service.
To approve it, just to clarify.
To approve.
I will second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2515, declaring EMS an essential service in Mills County, Iowa, and setting forth a funding mechanism for such services. Is there any discussion?
This will go through 3 meetings, 3 separate readings, so.
There'll be 3 readings.
I'll say, in terms of discussion, I think, doing the first step today is a good step in the right direction. I'd also like to look into a little bit of what Sarah has said about the alternative funding method in case it comes to that. We need to have an alternative funding method. It's very obvious that EMS is an essential service in Mills County. We need EMS, especially for our rural area. We need to make sure that everyone in Mills County has adequate coverage, no matter where they are.
I'd also like to make a couple comments and things. I've been searching different counties around us that have just passed this. For instance, I will use Cass County did theirs last fall. And the people I talked to up there, they said, well, Richard, your biggest problem is you do not have a hospital. And I said, I know that. We've never had one, and stuff. And they get part of their medical services paid for through the hospital, which makes a big difference in what they ask. They did ask for the 75 cents, but I will say this, that they had a lot of people, just like we have sitting in this room here, that has been with the EMS for years. And you are the backbone of what we need to move forward with. So I suppose I would hope that if you're asked to serve on this council, that you will do so. We will be asking other people, but they said it was a long, hard task. The lady I talked to, all she did for the EMS service was answer emails and things and Facebook. She says, I would sit for maybe 2.5, 3 hours a night because they wanted one person answering the questions that were coming up. So that's another wrinkle that's come into this, but she says it made a big difference. I'm done.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, let's do a roll call, member.
Sayers,
Aye.
Crouch,
All right.
Mayberry.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Schultz, you are up next for some concrete bids.
And
Thanks, Sheriff.
I'm well. Okay.
You can get some bigger chairs for you, don't we?
All right, it's over there. Anyway.
I didn't say you were fat, for the record.
I can, that's it. Okay, so last week I came together, I had a little discrepancy in the two bids. So I did ask Anderson Drilling to get their apples to apples with what we have. So the two bids that I have are from Anderson Drilling at $32,250, so $3,202.50. And then from Griner Concrete at $3,450. And what this is part of, making sure that we are in compliance for our jail inspection for the month. These are, a couple different pieces that are right at the entrances to the jail, backsides of chases, and then also each event. You'll also see a section of 40x4 new sidewalk. That is, we created a couple of cattle paths that walk across the ground. So put concrete in there. Feel confident that both of those guys were pretty sharp on their pencils. But because Anderson Drilling is out of Vernon, they're lower by a couple $100. I would absolutely look at Anderson Drilling.
Good.
I'll make a motion to go with Anderson Drilling for $3,202.50 for some work at the Mills County Jail.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the concrete bid from Anderson Drilling for $3,202.50 for the concrete work at the jail. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. You need to sign one of those or?
No,
Okay.
no, I'll just reach out to them and.
Okay.
We're gonna skip over the next one, so I've tried to grab that letter, so I'm gonna have. Yeah, I'm gonna have. She's gonna send that to me really quick here.
We still gonna do it today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's ready. I think it's probably sitting on my desk. Okay.
Amber, maybe she can print it. Next item is purchase an AED for the sheriff's office.
We, do not, our one that we have in the front office is aged. No longer receiving the updates for the software, so we'd like to update that. We went, through the company that we buy all of our AEDs through this Stryker. Unfortunately, they're not cheap. Between the actual defibrillator itself and then the 8-year premium or the plan to keep it updated, the grand total is $2,931.96. Again, that's your Stryker. There, we order these to them. We also order our English to their regular vendor.
Now, just for my knowledge, could opioid settlement funds be used for something like this?
I don't believe so. When we met, and Richard, you were there Friday.
Yeah.
From what my understanding of the language of that is, it can be used for equipment, but it can't be used for something unless it's opioid specific or some sort of drug specific. So I think that's something that was outside the lens of what
Yep.
the scope of what we could be allowed to use that settlement.
That makes sense.
I want to check with public health. I think through one of their grants, they may be able to purchase it for you.
But I was wondering if we didn't have some grant money that was.
I asked about that because they bought them for in here. And we are able to get the grant funding for all the ones that go on our cruisers,
Okay.
but not for the ones in the building itself.
Okay.
We have one in the jail that's more current than
Okay.
the one we have. Up front.
My question too. Good. All right.
I'm asking to purchase that.
I'll make a motion to purchase an AED for the sheriff's office for a grand total of $2,931.96 through Stryker.
Second,
We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of an AED through Stryker for the sum of $29,3196. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Okay, last thing.
Rifle.
Yeah, rifle. With the hiring, latest deputy, we're very close to, making that move. That's, the gentleman was in taking his, and we had a psychological background, we have medical vet to do yet. Once we get all that completed, we'll give him an official offer. However, knowing that we're prepping for that person's, entry into our office, we need a rifle to put into his cruiser. We're short on a rifle officer to get the additional one. So, we went through a company called Range Master Training Center. This is on state bid, DAPS. For the same rifle that we all carry in our cruiser. It's an FN, and with the suppressor on it for noise suppression. But all told, it comes to $1,572. Again, I just need permission to purchase that. It might take a couple weeks to get here. Ideally, if everything works out right, if the candidate passes all the tests he has to go through, love to see him come in about the middle of June to get him on the road as soon as possible. So they get some time. It'll probably take a couple weeks to get them. We're trying to find it.
I'll make a motion to purchase a FN rifle with a suppressor for $1,057 through Range Master Training Center.
1572, correct? Yeah.
second,
We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of a rifle through Range Master Training for $1,572 even. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, with your permission, can I put a hold on the petition off the back come through my email? I'll write
Yeah.
it, give it quick, and then I'll come back.
Sure.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is discussion regarding planning and zoning's recommendation for no changes to the solar ordinance.
He's out there.
Who's he?
Matt.
You're up. Morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Good. You asked to be on the agenda for the discussion?
I did, just so to conclude, where we were on it, got the planning commission meeting, and we're on some changes for the solar ordinance, solar planning commission sent forward a recommendation, no changes to it. And so to bring it full circle, coming back to you all with that, let you know that they recommended no changes. And make sure that, I was getting the feeling that it seemed like, the board support was kind of there, just leave it as it was, so that's what we want to do, and that's what.
Good.
That's it.
All right,
All righty,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Mr. Poole. You out there? Put it right here. Yeah, let's go to the next item. Item number 13, consideration formal action regarding office equipment supplies at former mental health case management office. As you can see, supervisors, there's some office furniture. It looks like chairs, desks, file folders, maybe a computer or two, file cabinets. I'm I assume
County-
this is just sitting
Yeah.
there
County had 3 employees at one time that worked in
in Montgomery County.
Montgomery County for mental health. And this is leftover equipment from them. We had talked some years ago about getting rid of it, but we never knew what mental health was going to do. And now that they have been taken over by the state and they're going to run it, why I think mental health will be run out of Pot County. So we have this material and stuff to get rid of. Like Lonnie says, there's desk, chairs, cabinets, computers, binders, things. I believe we generally offer it to
Other departments.
other departments and stuff first, and then we'll probably put it on the auction block. We have a couple vehicles to get rid of and things, so. You want a motion on that?
Yeah, please do. Then we can direct our auditor to get that spread out. Or
The
sent out to
auditor, what
everybody.
would you like to put in?
Just, make a motion to allow departments to take a look at these and choose what they want, and the rest to go to auction. For disposal.
I'll stand behind that. That's good.
Second that motion.
Mr. Motion, Krebs, okay. We've got a motion and a second to have the auditor reach out to the other department heads and see if they can take any of this equipment, otherwise it'll go to auction. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I do not have it. There was a hiccup in the background.
You do not have it?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody,
Steve out
find
there.
Mr. Poole? Steve Poole, is he out there yet?
No.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Does that include county departments as part of your departments?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah, well, like I said, this is mental health old equipment. She'll send it out countywide, so it'll go to supervisors, auditor, treasurer, recorder. you name
Fire,
it. Fire?
county fire department, not a city.
No, we have a county fire department yet, but we could probably get you hooked up at the auction somewhere, so we'll work something out. Just want to see it get put to use. I don't want to see somebody buying other equipment that we have already, so. Mr. Poole. Thank you, Keith.
I'll listen to your voice from there, thank you.
In the building, you know?
They said they had seen that long ago.
He was in here earlier.
Yeah, or last May.
Yeah.
That's all, sorry.
No, it's all good. And we'll have him just give him to the auditor so she can submit them.
If he's in the garage, then.
Always wait till my turn. Right,
Must have went for a coffee break.
we have,
On his way. Sorry.
right.
Anyone have a discussion on questions on the essential service, you know, that we're talking about doing?
Hey, Richard, I didn't speak up. I did want to support Sarah. I agree with her on that. And then that comment about having other people on that board besides
Absolutely.
EMS professionals, but get some citizens on here. I think that's important.
Needs to be a
especially
good
when it comes to
mix.
Taxation.
Needs to be a mix of people who know what they're doing and the people who utilize the services and then people who represent the entire county. That's what needs to happen.
You're it.
A full audience here today.
We do.
We thought maybe you were the AOL.
Have I ever been AOL? Wait a second, let me show up here. What you have in front of you are updated numbers with fire panel and potential costs associated with said panels. The one you got before from Johnson Control, Fire Guard, and Continental are two that you reached out to check Johnson Control's numbers. You can see that the Fire Guard and Continental are substantially less. So this is just information for us going forward. Because we know we've got some antiquated equipment in the courthouse. Continental gave us a pretty thorough walkthrough. They were here yesterday. I don't have that for Fire Guard, so I'm not gonna get into the details of that today. But they have pretty good reasons for why everything is cost-wise what it is. Okay? So this is just something we need to keep in mind moving forward in the future. To make sure that, we're protecting the building. The second thing that, I want to touch on is, we've got a contract with Johnson Control for the fire panel in the building. Johnson Control can't work on that fire panel because it is, it's a Fire Guard. Honeywell can't. It's proprietary. So if something goes wrong, they can tell me, Johnson Control can tell me what's wrong with it. But I gotta get Fire Guard here to fix it. So we're basically working with two vendors.
We have a contract with someone to fix something they can't fix.
Yeah, basically. Probably wouldn't have got into business with Johnson Control. They didn't tell us that upfront. That we weren't able to work on that. Wow. So I talked to, John downstairs about possibly getting out of our contract with Johnson Controls. And, I believe we've got maybe 3 years left on it, 3 years left on it. I did reach out to Fire Guard to get some prices on going back with them, if that's something we might decide to do. They're pretty close number wise. I mean, it's not enough that you want to pick one over the other. I'm just thinking it might be in our best interest to go with Fire Guard, because if something goes wrong, they can fix it while they're here. They don't have to call another vendor in. They can
Absolutely.
take care of it. I've already reached out to Johnson Control and talked to James Bruda, who is our sales contact, and told him, in fact, he was here in the courthouse a couple weeks ago. He told him, kind of foreshadowed, that this is something we might look into. And he said that he understood that. John seems to think it's up to them on whether or not they would want us to pay out the rest of their contract.
How much is that?
It's, it's about $4,000. That's just rough math. I would have to call James again, touch base with him. And I told him that, right now, the way it's set up is we're like serving two masters with that fire panel.
It makes no sense to have a contract with someone that can't fix the equipment. we have.
Yeah.
Not at
And
all.
I think it's something that we should be able to get out of, because what they sold us wasn't what they could do. So, I guess it just depends on how much they want to push it and how much we want to push back. So,
I would like to look into this further and keep the foot on the gas pedal. We need it fixed. It needs to be up to date.
I would like to have this resolved before the end of next month, before we
Absolutely,
get into our next fiscal year.
absolutely.
So that's what we're shooting for. So I will touch base with both those parties again, and I'll let you know where we're going. But I think we'd be better served going back to Fire Guard and staying with Johnson Control just for this building. Keep all the other stuff that they got going on in the county.
Where's Fire Guard based out of?
Omaha.
Okay.
They're both out here.
Okay. Good.
All right,
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
that's it, Steve. Yep.
Yeah, stay in touch with Amber and keep this on the agenda, Steve.
Pardon?
Keep this on the agenda. Stay in touch
Okay.
with Amber. Thank you. Good. Anybody have any new business? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn at 9:03.
Second?
Got a motion and a second to adjourn at 9:03. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. We're gonna close this out.